And what's your pleasure?
From the Thomaston Place Auction Galleries in Thomaston, Maine, I'm Elizabeth McLeod with Auction Waves.
32,500, 100,000 there. Players all over the house. 400,000 on this rare piece, and 600,000, 900,000, 1 million, 1,175 once, 100,175 twice. We all good? Sold.
You never know where you're going until you get there. But that doesn't mean you can't think long and hard about your destination. Every new year brings new challenges, new adventures, and new opportunities. And that's always true here in the auction world. On this edition of Auction Waves, we'll spend some time with a well-qualified observer of market trends, and we'll explore the impact that technology may have in the near future on art and those who love it. But first, the latest auction news. The catalog's online, the gallery's taking shape, and we're well on the way to Winter Enchantment 2026, with 3 days and well over 1,450 exciting lots, spanning the worlds of fine art, elegant furnishings, estate jewelry and watches, nautical memorabilia, rare books, folk collectibles, and so much more. An image by Maine artist Dalov Ipkar that's already come to symbolize this important feature auction appears on the cover of our brochure. And it's also one of the most interesting lots in the auction, as auctioneer Kaja Veilleux explains.
It's called The Nightmare and Her Foe, and she's sweeping down, and this was a cover for her book that she did in 1990. It's an oil on canvas and monumental in size, and so beautifully colored. The lavenders and the oranges and the yellows, and you have these striking black stallions coming down through the flames with the purple and blue accents on the black background. A very dramatic style of painting these horses. Almost looks like they're moving when you stand back and look at the picture.
Dalov Ipkar's works have sold consistently above estimates in our recent auctions, attracting notice across the intersection of Maine and contemporary art. And this one-of-a-kind work is expected to feature as a highlight in the concluding third day of bidding. Examine the whole catalog online and make your plans to bid in person, by phone, or absentee at thomastonauction.com. I'm Elizabeth McLeod, and this is Auction Waves. The world of fine art and the business of auctions have always been closely intertwined, with developments in one deeply influencing trends in the other. Out in Phoenix, Arizona, you'll find the headquarters of a network of publications that covers developments in both sectors with close and careful interest. On this edition of Auction Waves, we welcome a journalist with some interesting perspectives on these ever-changing, ever-evolving fields. And he's also a colleague in the podcasting world, whose program American Art Collective is regular listening for many of us in the profession. From International Artists Publishing, we welcome Michael Clawson. And to start, Michael, a few words, if you please, on your network of magazines. I have a copy of American Fine Art magazine on my desk right now, but you have others as well.
Yeah, certainly. We are a magazine publisher. We have 5 titles. One of them, as you mentioned, is American Fine Art Magazine. Our oldest title is American Art Collector, which covers the world of contemporary American art, mostly a contemporary realism. We also have Western Art Collector, which is one of the magazines that I directly oversee. I work on all of the titles. We have a small staff, so we all kind of help on everything. The 2 magazines that I directly oversee are Western Art Collector and then Native American Art Magazine. And then we also have International Artist. So five titles. 2 of those are monthly, and they keep us very, very busy.
And the American Arts Collective podcast is an interesting piece of work. I was listening to it this morning and enjoy it very much. Share that with our audience, if you would.
Yeah, certainly. So the American Art Collective is I don't even know what it is anymore. It used to be about artists. That's what it was primarily about. And since then, it's really just it's evolved into something really special. What we think is very special. It can be anything related to the art world. That's what our podcast is about.
We'll give the link at the end of the interview here, and we'll encourage people to go on over and give it a listen for themselves. But in my questions for you, sir, I have a few thoughts that I would like to pick your brain on as we move into the second quarter of this 21st century. And how did that happen? Where do you see the market for American art? Are we looking forward to the future, or are we looking back to a more comforting traditional past? What are your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting question because I think that maybe we're looking back a little bit. Obviously, there are some sales. There's some really great artwork that's hitting the market now that's more current day, that's more present. Some of the modern and contemporary sales are really exciting. But generally, like where we're seeing a lot of movement is work from the past. And I feel like that's a very comforting place for bidders, especially knowing that those pieces retain their value and they're frequently going up in price. Let a little less guesswork, maybe. I'm not sure if that's the reason, but I do see a lot of interest in some of the older work, older movements, and people kind of sticking close to those. I cover Western art for our Western title, and the Western art world, as far as markets and sales are going, they're phenomenal, really exceptionally well. We've had record sales from numerous auction houses in the last year. I mean, it seems like there's just no ceiling on this. Now, I know as soon as that left my lips, there is always a ceiling on everything, but it just seems like we've not hit it yet. Western art is just doing phenomenal.
Do you find that the art market today is more heavily regionalized? Are people so devoted to their particular interest that they aren't looking outside that interest, or is there more of a smorgasbord approach?
I would say this is a mixed bag for me. We certainly have encountered numerous collectors who, and I'll use Western again just because it's an easy example, who have homes in the West and all they want in those homes is Western art. And so that's kind of where they stick to. But I mean, more frequently, I'm talking to people, especially like auction specialists, when I ask them these questions about, who are the kinds of people who are buying the material at your sale that you just had. And obviously they can't tell us individual names, but they can say, what we're seeing is a diverse set of bidders who maybe they have a home in Montana, a lodge style home, and they put Western art in it or wildlife art, but they're also putting art from where they came from, whether that's Philadelphia or Boston or New York City or down south, Charleston or Florida. They put those homes, they fill those homes with the work that they know. And sometimes it's for the region that they're living in, but it's also a mixture. So, I mean, we're frequently seeing people who are buying Frederick Remingtons and they're hanging them next to their Edward Hoppers and that sort of thing, which is great. I think that's what art should be. It shouldn't just be like this collection of the same images over and over again.
I think that would be a very harmonious wall myself.
I do too.
Remington and a Hopper. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that is a really nice juxtaposition to visualize. Who are today's art buyers? How does that extend out nationally? Who are the art buyers on a national scale in terms of demographics?
So I'll start this answer with a story. When I started in the art world, which was roughly 12 years ago, I remember the big concern was all of these people who are in their 80s and 90s, they're selling all their art and they're not buying any more art. What are we going to do? And there was this hand wringing, like the market's just going to implode. It's going to fail because all of these older people are getting rid of their collections and young people don't want to buy art. Well, it's been 12 years and there's still people out there buying art. So I do think that most art buyers, especially on the high end, are going to be older collectors. But we're seeing some incredible improvements as far as ages and demographics going into the market for just new material. I mean, I think people like that and they're drawn to it. There is no sort of age limit. There's certainly not minimum or maximum age limit. People are just buying art if they like it. One of the things that we're seeing really strongly in the West is a new generation of artists that are coming up. They're very connected. They're on social media. They're younger, they have young kids, they're just exploring new things, and they're bringing with them younger collectors. That's an improvement. I mean, anytime we can bring younger collectors in, because, it's hopeful that those are going to be lifelong collectors.
What do these younger collectors expect in an auction experience? What do they want from an auction house, do you think?
So what I've heard over and over again in this is the ease of the use, right? Like this should be easy. This shouldn't be complicated. They want this to be easier. It should not be a hurdle to get into a sale and watch it. It should not be difficult to order a catalog. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't need an array of tickets to get into a sale. Like this should be easy. And that's one thing that we hear over and over again, especially with as things went more digital, after COVID and sometimes before COVID, depending on the auction house and the gallery. But just having a way to view this material and to purchase this material in a way that does not break my brain is ideal. I mean, we hear that over and over again when, especially with like we talked earlier, the bidders and the buyers at the higher end are typically still older. Not to generalize, but they typically have tech problems. So why not make this stuff easier for everybody? Make the ease of your app, your website, your gallery, make it all more functional. Share dates with everyone earlier. Like these are all should be no-brainers, but we find it routinely happening over and over again.
And we find here that we use all of these technological methods. Do you see younger buyers willing to go to a live auction as an experience as opposed to doing it by app or online?
I mean, I think so. I go to a lot of sales in person. I do think that they are skewing a little younger, not a ton. I'm sure there's more work that can be done there. Here's how I like to go to a sale. I like to pull it up on my app while I'm in the room. I just like that. I like that convenience. Sometimes these catalogs can be a little bulky. I don't like to sit with it on my lap. So I'll sit in a live sale in the room with the auctioneer and I'll be flipping through my phone looking at what's next, watching the internet bids come in. It's just a convenience thing. Why not give everyone the ability to do this stuff? Why not, make it easy for them? I think that's how you bring people in, is just to make this all easier.
Staying on the technological end of things for a moment, I wanted to talk a little bit about everybody's favorite buzzword of the moment, artificial intelligence. It has permeated pretty much every aspect of our lives, whether we want it to or not. What impact do you see it having in the art world? Is it going to drive people, I don't know, to be more insistent on seeking out actual human art as we move to a time when you don't really know what you're looking at?
I think so. Now, I think there's a huge caveat there is there's younger people. I mean, we're talking really young, like teenagers right now, who are growing up on this stuff. They're the ones that concern me the most. Now, they're not typically art buyers, but in 20 years they could be. And it worries me that they're being raised to use AI in literally every portion of their life. I mean, it's terrifying. But I do think the people that can afford art, who are out there buying art, who have art collections, yes, they see all this AI stuff and it does sort of draw them closer to physical objects. If you've seen any of this AI art, it's just awful, terrible in so many ways. Now, I'm not saying all of it. I'm sure someone, as soon as I say that, someone's going to point out something that's amazing. Well, I'm just talking about the stuff that people are making at home, whether it's some sort of, Chat GPT or something like that. But most of the art's really terrible, and people can spot it a mile away, whether it's faces or fingers. It's just making people really, I think, yearn for something real. So I do feel like it could benefit the art world. Now, of course, AI is also getting better and better. Is AI going to figure out faces and fingers within the next 5 years? Probably. Is it going to be harder to tell what's actual AI and what's a real painting? Yes. One of the things I told an artist recently, and I don't know if I believe it myself yet, but I'll be worried when there's a robot that can paint a real painting. That's what we're sort of dealing with, right? Is digital art that you look at on a screen. Well, an artist can paint something in real life, a physical paint with a physical brush on a physical canvas. And that's what distinguishes AI from this other real artwork. As soon as someone develops a robot that can do that physically, I think we're all in trouble. I'm not seeing it yet. I'm hopeful that it never happens, but who knows? But I just encourage people, if AI is getting you down, you turn to physical art. Find your favorite artists and seek them out and support them.
I think that's something that we in the marketing end of the art world can certainly contribute to by pointing out that the art isn't simply the strokes of paint on the canvas. It's what went on in the artist's brain to put that paint there. And a robot is never going to quite be able to capture the human experience in that way. And we just need to keep it so that people understand the importance of that. Which brings me to my next thought about AI. Do you see a place for AI in the auction world? We're at the cusp right now of, will these AI tools become an aid or a hindrance to doing our jobs? What do you think about that?
I think it's a slippery slope. I think if you start introducing AI at one level, you're going to be more comfortable introducing it at other levels. And it concerns me. It concerns me greatly. But AI with collectors and art enthusiasts, that's worrisome to me. AI in the hands of galleries is worrisome. But mostly, I think it's AI in the hands of artists. That's what concerns me the most, because it feels like there's a creative bankruptcy happening where an artist can turn to some sort of image making software and say, show me a picture of a man on a horse, and it shows him that. Now, that's not his art, but he's using that as his reference to paint from. And, back in the old days, someone would go out to a ranch and watch someone riding a horse to get that image, for someone to then just turn to AI and say, create the image for me so I can paint it. Now, that painted work of art no one's going to know. No one's going to know. So I feel like there needs to be some accountability with artists. I think they need to be more upfront about what they're doing, as far as in the back end, under the hood, so to speak, with their art. Are they using AI to generate imagery that they can paint? Are they using AI to compose artwork before it's painted or sculpted? These are questions that really, I think, cut to the heart of this, which is we can't do this stuff.
There are real questions of trust that come up at every aspect of this. I know that we strictly use human cataloging at our house, and I assume that the other leading auction houses do the same. The temptation, though, may exist at some point to unleash an AI bot for cataloging purposes. And I think that for me would be a line that I would have to draw really hard in the sand. I am not going to trust something that was generated electronically to give me an accurate description of something that I may be spending my money on. Have you ever encountered a case of that in the wild?
Never in the wild. But yeah, no, that concerns me. I heard another interesting point yesterday that came from an appraiser who said, they have real concerns about using AI to do their research for them. Because let's say a client asks you to appraise their art, this appraiser doesn't know what they have, or it's not signed, so they start putting images into AI. And now that artwork, which has never existed online or digitally before, is now in a system. And not just any image, but sometimes high resolution images of the signature, of the brushstrokes, of the work from front and back, plus all the data that's associated with it, how that picture was taken, where that picture was taken. That was really scary to think that all of this information, we think that we're just putting an image into a service that's going to go fetch the image and say, hey, this is what we think this is. But what if what we're really doing is we're uploading an image that has all this metadata attached to it and all of this information that we don't even realize, and now that's on a service somewhere being used by other AI models. It just seems like it's a virus that can grab your stuff and just instantly dump it everywhere.
That bothers me tremendously. I've been a professional writer for over 40 years, and I know how to research. I don't need an AI robot to do my researching for me.
I would like to add, as you just said, and this is the same with our editorial team, we have a strictly no AI. No one is allowed to use AI for anything. Everything comes from a human voice, human hands that are typing it. We want to stay very far away from it. If it ever came out that we were using AI content in this magazine, any of our magazines, people would flee, and I would not blame them, because I'm doing the same thing. We just had a local radio station here in Phoenix that went to all AI DJs. No way. I can't. There's no way I could support that. And I think that people would have that same reaction to an art magazine or to a podcast or to an auction house. They just want to stay very far away from that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that I have colleagues in this business who are fighting the good fight, and I hope that you will certainly continue to do so. Thank you very much, Michael Clawson of International Artist Publishing and Kindred Projects. We are very happy to have had you with us today on Auction Waves. And I look forward to appearing on your program.
We're excited to have you on. Thank you for having me on. It has been an absolute pleasure.
And be sure to tune in on American Art Collective with Michael Clawson, his guests, and their perspectives on this ever-changing world of art, auctions, and other fascinating realms. And I'll be one of those guests, participating in a symposium of podcasters and auction professionals in an upcoming edition. Look for that release in February and enjoy lots more stimulating conversation at American Art Collective, LIBSYN.com, or your favorite podcast platform. And of course, don't miss our next Auction Waves release as we continue counting down to February 20th, 21st, and 22nd for our 2026 Winter Enchantment Auction. See the catalog now at thomastonauction.com. Today's program was produced, written, and edited for you by yours truly, Elizabeth McLeod, wishing you smooth sailing and happy bidding for Auction Waves. Auction Waves is an exclusive presentation of Thomaston Place Auction Galleries in Thomaston, Maine.